Hi there, this is Dionne Kress, the CHO of Codex Logistics with Brian Kempisty, the founder and owner. Today we're going to be talking about strengths and why I, as a leadership coaching guide, use strengths with each and every one of my clients, and why at Codex we always start new hires with a Strengths Finder assessment, and how we use that to develop people and help them to be successful in their roles at Codex and in their life. Brian, do you want to start with anything, or I don't know what's on your mind today in terms of strengths?
I think the coolest thing was from last week. We did an interview with Beatrice, who's one of our newest hires, and she's been with us now for 3 months. And she said, the coolest thing at PortX was I walked in the door and they gave me this Strengths Finder test, and they wanted to know about my strengths and how we could use those strengths in my position rather than what I'm bad at and coach me up on the bad stuff. And she just thought it was a really unique approach.
Yeah, I heard about that from Beatrice. And so my philosophy, just to kind of explain why Beatrice came on board, and when you hired me as the coach here, I always start with the strengths as a baseline, is just for that reason. Let's look at what people are naturally good at, and let's take them from there and make them excellent and amazing at their jobs, rather than looking at okay, you're not so great at this, let's really coach you so that you can be okay at that. And then I feel like that just brings people to a place of being mediocre. And I think you would agree, Brian, that you and I are both overachievers. We believe in greatness, and why not be your best self? And just doing that with each and every employee here, we've seen great benefits of that.
And it's more fun too. Nobody wants to get ridiculed on the 4 things that they're not good at forever. So let's put them in a position to succeed. So, they might not fit at one role in the organization, or they might not be the right candidate for this particular promotion, but maybe in another area, in another position that we create, they would be the perfect person for it. So it's all about trying to find the right fits and the right balances to make sure that we're doing our job as leaders to put them in a position for success.
Right. And when I first came on board, we took the leadership team through this assessment, and we saw that almost every single person was pretty well suited for their position. And you hired me to get people in their lanes, and we kind of redefined a few things based on those assessments, and everyone's killing it these days. Do you want to talk at all? It might be kind of interesting for people to hear about your strengths and how, as a leader of this organization and kind of the founder and bringing in the team, you used your strengths to be successful to date.
I know the strategic, obviously doing the business plan, and I'm a bullet point kind of guy, so I like it, not overly verbose. We want to have a plan, but have it easily digestible, have it bullet pointed. And I think the strategic end of my strengths out there. And one of the others that we noticed that, there were very few, or maybe I was the only one in the organization, was maximizer, and was to be able to get the most out of our people, get the most out of our business, get the most out of myself, get the most out of customers. And I think, that's really come into play with our success, is we are maximizing all of the resources and tools that we have around us.
I was just going to add that between your maximizer, you also have competitive and achiever, and that makes you this really strategic driver towards something, and you're very visionary because of that, which I think in terms of your position of being the founder of Codex, being visionary is really important. And then we also have some other visionary people on the leadership team that kind of support what you're doing, and you guys can collaborate together, which is really cool. But when you don't have that information about your team, then it makes it really difficult to communicate and to put people in the right places to do the right things. In terms of working with the leadership team and coaching them, it's really helped me, and I think has helped you, to understand people from kind of this foundation of where they come, right? So I know I'm always going back, or I'm encouraging the team to go back and read your teammates' strengths finders. So if you're coming up against some communication challenge, or you're not quite sure why they're making decisions the way that they are. If you read someone's strengths finder, you can really understand, oh, okay, so they're a context person, so they're going to appear to be pessimistic or potentially kind of like a pragmatist, right? So they're always like the bringing up the negative, but they're really just trying to put things into context because they need to look in the past to move forward. I know with the new point guard position, I have encouraged those three new leaders, emerging leaders, to look at the strengths finder of each other so that they can really collaborate more closely, and as they're making some decisions as that leadership team, they can use the strengths to figure out who should be doing what in those roles, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. And rather than getting frustrated, it allows you to shift perspective, right? One of the things I think I'll always remember, there was a highlight of last year's retreat, was Pat's suitcase. It was like 70 pounds and it was giant, and he had everything under the sun in there.
Yeah.
And you could say he's indecisive, or maybe he didn't know what to bring, but at the end of it, we shifted that perspective, and it was like he just wanted to be prepared for anything that he might encounter, right?
Right.
So
kind of the opposite of Adam, who's like the activator. He just wanted to get there.
Just go. He didn't even have a jacket.
So that brings me to the point that sometimes your strength can actually become your weakness, right? If you overutilize the strength, it can really get in your way and hold you back. And as the coach of the team, I'm always helping them to see, okay, well, maybe you're just, too much in that direction. Let's kind of utilize the strength over here to bring you back into balance. So that's always fun for me to help people see that.
And as we talked last week, right, we talked about we're not normal in the fact that we don't have this hierarchy. Like there's not like the corner office guy, CEO guy, and then, this, director here. And like, that's not how we work. We all work together and we collaborate. We talk about collaboration all the time.
Yeah.
And in order to function as a team and collaborate, to really know each other's strengths makes a big difference in how we approach it. Or, you can even make a little bit light of it, with certain things like Pat's suitcase.
Yes.
So it just allows us to understand each other, I think, a lot better. And if you understand your team better, your relationship is going to be way better, and you're not going to get frustrated with, well, geez, why didn't they do it like this, or why didn't they do it like me? It's because they're not like me.
Right. Yeah, and that you make a good point, right? It helps you understand. We sometimes get caught in our own world, and they're like, well, my way is the best way. Why doesn't everyone think like me? But then you can start to see, oh, okay, well, that's why that person is thinking that direction or making decisions in that direction or behaving in that way. It all comes back down to the strengths. And even for myself, like being a woo, I have to be really careful of that. Woo is winning others over and kind of being outgoing and boisterous. Like I've learned over the course of time, that I can really turn people off because I bring a little bit too much energy or too much to the table. So it helps you to be able to manage yourself to understand where you're coming from.
I always talk about knowing your audience, right? I think that's an important point that you made up about you understanding your own strengths, which could be your weakness. And I always talk about that with, when we're talking to customers or prospective customers, know your audience, right? What is important to this person need you to do? Like we were actually investing in the person and trying to develop their career within PortX Logistics.
Yeah, that's the one thing I value most about you guys and my capacity to work with all of you is that you really just want to give everybody every opportunity to be amazing human beings and, as you always say, change people's lives. And the culture here is very much about who are you and how can we make you successful, where I think in a lot of other organizations, they don't necessarily really care who you are at your core and from your heart. They just want you to be, make the business successful, where PortX believes if we make the people successful, the business and the success of the business will follow naturally. And with all the things that have been happening in the world lately, we had a conference call today, we can see where just supporting, caring about the people, investing in them as human beings has that's provided tenfold in terms of success. People are happy, the culture is cool, we're all a little weird in our own way, and you guys are doing really well financially. So So I just want to thank everyone for listening to Brian and I again today talk about strengths as it relates to business, as it relates to people being human and just supporting each other in the success in our personal and professional lives. Stay tuned for more conversations that we're going to have just about leadership in business and being human. You can find Brian at portexlogistics.com and you can find me at dionnekress.com.